Finally, I'd like to give the floor to Jane. As I mentioned before, Jane is the founder of VIE Marketing, and they are also a very brand-driven organisation, but they're also aligned with helping you create your own marketing strategies. So taking all of the different elements of what you need for your business to be able to translate that to be able to contact your market easily. The most important thing about VIE is that they're award-winning. They've won huge amounts of Marketing Institute awards, and most recently they won the Queensland Brand Revitalisation category for the 2019 Australian Marketing Institute's Award for Marketing Excellence. So Jane is certainly capable of being able to show how you translate all of this into your business. So Jane, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I absolutely love brand, and I've got 7 minutes, so I'm going to hook in because I'm talking about my favorite subject in marketing, brand. And I'm also going to be talking about a project, which is my passion project. So a few years back, I had a dairy farmer, Greg Dennis from Beaudesert in southeast Queensland, contact me and say his processor Parmalat had given him a renewal contract, which was 25% below the cost of production. He would lose his 80-year-old farm. So he said, I've got investment from family. I'm going to go and process my milk myself on farm and sell it directly to shops. He said, you have to do my marketing. So I thought, right, what are we going to do here? Because I am absolutely sure after 20 years of business that if you can create a brand that resonates with your customers, the rest of your marketing will flow. And how do you do that? You get to know your customers really well and you get them to tell the story. So I'm just going to, in 6 minutes, I'm going to try to tell you and give you a bit of a brief snapshot of this project that I ran and how the customer drove the brand. So there's a guy in America called Philip Kotler. He's a marketing guru. He said, if you don't have a brand, you're a commodity, and then the lowest cost producer is the only winner. So in the milk wars, when milk was $1 a litre, that's what was happening. There was no connection from a brand to the producer. So I remember going into Woolies and looking at the fridge and thinking, here's a wall of white plastic. This is not very inspiring. There's no connection to the producer. So I thought, we're going to disrupt the milk market in Queensland by creating the strongest customer-driven brand. Because when he goes to market and that milk goes on shelves, milk is a disposable, it has to sell. If it doesn't sell, it's thrown out. So it would be a disaster within weeks if we didn't create this brand that resonated. So we had 4 groups of customers. We had health-conscious parents, the locals who wanted to support their own, those that were tired of the supermarket duopoly, and also people with, allergic reactions to milk. So when I look at brand, as Susan said, the logo and the visual is important, and I'll talk about that, but there's so much more that goes into making a brand become alive. And I'm going to go through each one quickly to show you how we did this. So I'm going to pick out the health-conscious parents because I'm one of them. And we look at the values of that group of customers and we looked at, well, what do they want? What are their values? Family, relationships, buying local, supporting Australian made. They want to teach their kids and give them a connection between the food and their producers. Minimally processed. So values underpinned the whole brand development, basically. Then we look at characters. Now, I believe a brand story has characters. So the character, obviously, the main character we had was Farmer Greggy. And Farmer Greggy appeared in his Akubra and his farming gear. And, if we look at personality and tone, we built that in as well. We made him, and he's a bit of a media tart, so he was easy to sell. Loved the camera. But he was laconic, he was a farmer, he was down to earth, he wanted to support people and connect city to country. Then we looked at, knowing those values, we looked at the visuals of the brand, which were absolutely critical because all other milk then was white plastic. And so we wanted to create something that would resonate. So we captured you know, the logo itself was the first logo for milk that had real cows on the front. Everything else was stylized cartoon cows. We had photos of lush green fields with the cows. We had the mountains, Scenic Rim Mountains in the background. I should say this milk is called Scenic Rim for real milk. So we brought the brand visually alive. We had pictures of Greg's family, his third generation dairy farmer. We had his grandparents, his parents, and his children in the imagery. We want to say to consumers, this is a farming family that is just trying to earn a living. They've been there since 1936. They're bringing their milk to you. We also brought in photos of black and white photos to show the history. So history, your brand, whether you're a startup or an established company, it has a history. And so we captured, we featured black and white photos of the old days of the farming on Greg's farm and his grandparents farming. And we gave everybody names. These are people here. And so, and also the Facebook banner was Greg, Farmer Greggy, surrounded by about 50 children who were on farm one day, because we wanted to say, this is about your kids, your kids' health. So capturing those values. Anecdotes. I really strongly believe in this, and Suzanne, you know, and Debbie will get this. How do you tell a brand story? You can create a why use me list, but no one will believe it. You actually have to capture interactions with your customers that demonstrate your brand. I'll give you some examples. So if we look at, and video is great because people get it really quickly and it's so visual. So we could have said to people, okay, this is milk. It's, you know, milk is the same, right? That's what people were saying to us. We said, well, we could say, you know, no, this is actually minimally processed farm gate fresh milk. That sounds good. But what we did was we captured video of mums talking about how their kids absolutely love the milk. Kids with milk moustaches. The fact that, that there was an 80-year-old, an older woman there who was talking about how she loved having milk from glass bottles and how her Milo never tasted better. We could say things like, the milk is really fresh, which we did, but we also took a video of a barista making coffee and showing that the crema on top, which normally pits really quickly, was basically intact after 8 minutes. So we're capturing anecdotes and stories and interactions to demonstrate that this brand is what it is. We also look at, it's really important, we found particularly with this product, milk's milk. That's what people thought. So marketing is perception. You've got to start with that. And so people would say to us, why would we spend $2.50 on milk for 2 litres when we can spend $1 or a litre, I guess. And so we had to really capture, we had to look at what the customers perceived to be the market at the time and different milk. And then we had to differentiate and clearly state how this milk was different. So we pointed out that it's farm gate fresh. It's delivered on shelves within 3 days, not the 7 to 12 that is the norm. We pointed out that the health benefits of unhomogenized milk with the cream on top, minimally processed. It's a completely different product. Seriously, try it. We pointed out milk in a glass bottle, harking back to the old days when the milkman used to deliver the milk. We also stated the fact that this is a 100% Australian-owned farming business. It's not Japanese-owned like Lion or French-owned like Parmalat. It's Aussie. So they're basically the main differentiators we captured, and we wove that story through the brand. And I just quickly want to talk about the why. So I'm a big believer that just to create behavior in your customers or clients, you've got to evoke emotion. You can't just say, we sell milk. no one really cares. You've got to capture the heart and soul of your brand. So for Farmer Greg Dennis, he was absolutely passionate about bringing farm gate fresh, unhomogenized milk to as many people as possible. The $1 litre milk is crap. It's watered down. It's even got powder in it. It's a completely different product. So his why is basically, I just want my family to deliver my product to you. It's milk, it's simple, it's nothing added. And he also wanted to reconnect what he saw, I guess, as a disconnect between the city and the country. Kids not knowing where their products come from, going into a supermarket and their milk is in white plastic bottles. You know, where's the connection between the producer and the consumer? There was none until Scenic Rim for Real Milk came along. And so basically, we knew that to sell this milk, we had to create a brand that resonated. And that was about knowing what people wanted. First of all, what they perceived was milk in the first place, and then looking at their values, what they felt was important, and then basically capturing that in the brand story. So
Jane, just to wrap up, because we do need to move on, and I think you might be able to tell the rest of the story in the breakout session, just as one sort of final statement, what was the outcome of the campaign? Because there was a substantial benefit for the company, but just in like 10 minutes.
Well, milk launched and I didn't sleep the night before. I rang all my friends and said, buy the milk. This has got to work. I was so worried because if this didn't work, he would have lost the farm. I was so excited because milk literally sold out within hours and stockists doubled in 2 weeks. And what happened was, because we created this brand that was driven by the customer, we had Facebook going off. We called it our Facebook army. So we had user-generated content. We had literally hundreds of people posting photos of the milk that they were drinking, the cat drinking the milk, the bottle that didn't make it home from the shops, the milk moustaches. And then everyone was saying, hang on, I can't buy my milk from this shop. Can I get it from over here? And then people were posting how they'd driven 100 kilometers to get the milk and they've just got the last bottle. And so it was really successful.
Super success. Yeah,
great.
Okay. Thanks, Jane. Look, I know that there's a huge amount of detail behind that whole campaign. It was a really big one, but it did save that farmer and his program, and it's a really great case study.